Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? Manchester United 1, Real Betis 0. Manchester United 5-1 on aggregate against, they're not the Yellow Submarine. They look like the Green Submarine. I don't even know what the mascot is, but Manchester United go down to southern Spain, get a result. Started a little shaky, but either way, finished strong. Rashford with a great goal. Boys played well. Bruno continued to contribute. But most importantly, United move on in a cup competition that we are well suited to win, sir. How you feeling? How we doing?
I'm feeling great, and those birds chirping, they are not sound effects from the American Red Devils. Alex is in paradise right now. You can hear these just like angelic birds just chirping around you, sir. Where are you calling in from here, this remote pod?
I'm calling in from Cabo. Very lucky to be on a little bit of a holiday, sir. Those Angels are Champions League, baby. Those are the Champions League Angels calling us back for next year because that's what is hopefully on the menu. But on a little vacation with the wife, away from the kids. But Manchester United never sleep. Watching it by the pool, you love to see it. United getting a result. As kids who are trying to watch March Madness, apparently there's basketball on, trying to boot me. Talking to the wrong Manx, sir. How we feeling? How you doing?
Sir, we're all jealous you're having a beach party. I think they just got the band playing in the background as well.
It's festive here. It's lively. You love to see it.
So what are you, getting some sun this little anniversary trip or what?
Getting a little sun, not too much sun, because the sun's pretty strong, especially when we came from Northern California and we've had 3 months of rain. But enjoying some local beaches, enjoying the pool, and enjoying some of the local cuisine as well, sir. But as you know, American Red Devils, we've been doing this for a while, 450 pods on our way. Pod never sleeps. Vacation, honeymoon, kids, whatever. And just back to business, baby. United making it like business today, getting that win, getting an important result, because you got to keep that momentum going into the weekend. Without Casemiro, it's going to be a big match on Sunday.
Oh, you just reminded me we're without Casemiro. Oh no!
That's why I'm here, baby.
All right, we're gonna have to tell the band in the background to tone it down a little bit here. But Alex, have fun. I like the story of you. Like the thing about going on vacation watching United. First of all, you're watching like Europa League. They got to have like the subscription, and then you got to like box out the TV like ahead of time. So like you were saying, you got some like March Madness like chumps trying to get in there because there's like all these crazy basketball games on. But you got to like you were there early. You knew what to do. Got to get a guy. You got to find the remote. It's very involved. It's very involved when you're traveling. You're trying to catch a United game. But look, getting into the game from my perspective, tale of two halves. Rocky start. I mean, if you listen to the pod, we told you Betis has this like 60,000 seat stadium. You could feel it when you watched the game. I felt like the atmosphere was like top notch. The lads were a little shaky. And passing out the back, that was a riot for a little bit. De Gea with some good saves. Harry Magoo didn't make us look better at the back. Lissandro didn't seem to like playing with him. It was kind of this is one of those trap games. You got a 4-1 lead. You're coming in. You're thinking to Fulham at the end of the day, and it's let's just not lose big. But it was bend don't break for United. You had a bad first half. You came out strong second half. Marcus Rashford puts a stamp on the game, which is ultimately he's going to the moon. Marcus Rashford. What a second half of the season post-World Cup. No one could have predicted that he'd be hitting this level, and that's really the difference maker. And when you have a player like that on your team, you can get away with a bad first half. We win, we move on. It's all about the draw tomorrow, which we'll keep you posted on, and then FA Cup. So many trophies to play for. It's March. Alex is on vacay. The weather's getting warmer, and we're hopefully going to be lifting some more trophies here at Manchester United.
You would love to see it. Make a lot of great points. Game started shaky for United. I think they were definitely intimidated a little bit by that Sevilla crowd. It was in full voice, but at the same time, I think United is showing some resilience when they don't start a game well. They can still get a result. A lot of that comes down to the class we have in certain positions, right? De Gea doing well, keep us in the first half, and then Rashford really out of nothing, but just an outside of the box banger. Bangarang, you love to see it. I love a Marcus Rashford goal like that, hitting the level of highs that, as you alluded to, I don't think any United fan would have thought he could do that this season after the World Cup, been propelled by Southgate's being neglected by him. But England's loss is our gain, even though he's called up for the England side for the upcoming friendlies, even though he shouldn't go anywhere near a pitch. But United, important win, show some resilience, mixed up the squad a little bit, and most importantly, moving on to the next round of the Europa League, so the prestige, top silverware in Europe, apparently. It's still a big deal.
Look, Eric Ten Hag wants to win every trophy that we're in, every competition we're in, and I want to win it. And what a statement that would be, winning. You get the Carabao Cup. We said it was a snack. These lads are hungry. They want that Europa League. They want that FA Cup. And playing twice in a week, it's going to be huge for Manchester United. But quick PSA for the podcast. If you like the American Red Devils podcast and you want to support independent fan content, and probably most importantly, keeping this podcast ad-free, we do leave dollars on the table. We've been contacted by a lot of big sponsors to read out these long ads and maybe interrupt the pod, and we don't like that. I don't like listening to pods that do that. We don't want to do that. So we want you guys to support us directly. Check out our Patreon page. It's the best way to do so. Patreon.com/American Red Devils. There's a ton of great benefits as well. You support us. We don't have to offer ads. I feel like everyone is riding high without any ball shavers on this podcast. Also, check out our website, AmericanRedDevils.com. We have great fan-generated blog content. If you're interested in writing a Muppet opinion or a hot take, email us, AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com. We're happy to post your article, or if you want to contribute anyway. This is all about that fan take, getting that out there. That is what this platform is about. Also, check out our store. If Patreon's not your thing, AmericanRedDevils.com. AmericanRedDevils.com. Click on store or AmericanRedDevils.store. Everything you buy, shirts, pins, stickers, hats, everything supports us. So please check it out. Also, subscribe wherever you see us. We're not some big corporate conglomerate. Not too big to fail here at the American Red Devils. So everything you do does help us find some more listeners and all that stuff. We don't want to bother you too much, but one of the best ways to do it is drop a review wherever you listen. Start telling about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews or 5-star reviews, the American Devils podcast, wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod. It helps us get found organically by other fans like yourself, and even better, we're doing a special giveaway. We're giving away free American Red Devil designed glazer out scarves. Send it anywhere in the world. All you got to do is write a 5-star review, send a screenshot to AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I will personally pick, pack, and ship a free glazer out ARD designed scarf, send it right to your door anywhere in the world. Here's a great review from Drew L, 5 stars. Great podcast. I just recently started listening, but I enjoy it very much so far. I will always be on board with bashing the referees and VAR. In the most recent episode, it was very interesting to hear the perspective about how VAR and how we should be able to hear the conversation between VAR and the ref. United fans, they know VAR goes against you, goes for you sometimes, but appreciate those 5-star reviews. Keep them coming. We will keep the swag going. The Shopify outgoing mail is shut down for a couple of days while I'm on holiday. But like I said, pod never sleeps.
Hey, the warehouse team needs to get a break every once in a while. And also, Alex, you went a little robotic there. The Wi-Fi on the beach is not spectacular, so we appreciate everyone bearing with us on the remote pods. But it's better to make sure the pod never sleeps. Let's get into it. Real Betis 0, Manchester United 1, 5-1 on aggregate. Who are you, Betis? At the Benito Villamarin Stadion in the southern Spain. Sorry, weather looked great in southern Spain. That would be an away day to go to. It was the round of 16, second leg. Now we're into the quarterfinals. Let's get into that lineup. We had Dave saves world number 1 in net. Malacia at left back. Martinez, Magoo, center back pairing. What do you mean? Wan-Bissaka on the right. Fred Casemiro, midfield. Bruno in the hole, Rashford on the left, Wout Weghorst, number 9, and Palestri on the right. What do you think about this lineup?
A couple surprises or, nice admissions. The one I was most excited to see was Facundo getting the start. Obviously, the Garnacho going down with an injury that sounds like it's much more serious than we had initially expected. You're hoping that Facundo would get an opportunity to get some minutes, especially going to Spain. Against an opposition that he should be comfortable playing against. So him getting to start was great to see. Wan-Bissaka fitting in. I thought he had a really good game after a jittery start. And Magoo, this is what you say Magoo for, right? You're up 4-1. you would hope that you could put in Harry Maguire and get a result, but they were going after him early in this game, sir. Like they were definitely targeting Harry because they're putting long balls in and trying to take advantage of the captain's pace because you need the fastest player in the world.
All right,
slower than Wout Weghorst.
Are you going to deny that I can't beat Harry Magoo in a foot race now?
You could beat Harry Magoo. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident I could. Let's get into that first half. United start shaky. I mean, this was the theme. The atmosphere was bumping in southern Spain. 60,000 fans. It was a pretty amazing stadium. And also the turnout was unbelievable. I felt like we were kind of shook. Eighth minute, Wout has a chance at the far post, but he can't put it in. He can't get his head there. Wout needs to go to heading school. Great opportunity for United. In 11th minute, Betis hit the outside of the post, curling effort. United scattered. Again, we just couldn't play it out. They were all over us. They were running at us. I think Magoo got at pretty, he got turned and looked very slow. 31st minute, De Gea with a nice sweeper move. He's looking good back home in Spain. And then the 47th minute, now United off the post. Bruno plays in Palestre, but Wout can't get on the end of the ball for a tap-in. So back and forth stuff, but really the theme is we were shaky at the back. We were shaky playing the ball out. Looked like we just didn't turn up for this match in the first half. We did have our chances towards the end of it, but first 20, 30 minutes, it was really bend, don't break stuff for United.
It was, and we've seen this before this season. United starting the game a little scattered. I think, the local Sevilla crowd gave Betis some life, and they certainly went at United, especially in those opening 20, 30 minutes. Maguire being exposed a couple times, but United ultimately holding the line. They had a couple good chances both ways, but it was exciting in the first half. If you're a neutral, for a 0-0 to finish the first half, it was a fun watch because both teams were going at it, and then also, like, the octane of physicality seemed to step up. Like, they were tackling us, we were tackling them, and all in all, there weren't too many bad calls from the ref. So that's what you love to see. It's an exciting football game, but United, more importantly, not conceding in that first half.
Coming out in the second half, United show up a little better. 50th minute, Rashford drives into the box, but his shot was just over. 53rd minute, another chance for Rashford, but the Betis keeper comes way out to deny him. So Rashford was able to get into those spaces behind, which was great to see. I felt like that was really the change at halftime. 55th minute, Rashford misses a sitter after a great move, but he would make up for it soon enough. Marcus Rashford. So we're going, because you're in Mexico on vacation, we're going to go with the Telemundo call here for this Marcus Rashford goal, 55th minute.
Pelistri, este es Casemiro. Sin marca está Marcus Rashford. Y ahora va a probar golazo. ¡Gol! De Manchester United, tremendo golazo, se había comido uno hace un minuto nada más, 1-0.
Bueno, eso te demuestra también el talento que tiene Marcus Rashford, que se venía, como lo decías Luis, de comer un gol increíble, había tenido dos clarísimas en este segundo tiempo que no había podido concretar mano a mano con el portero. Y después
mano a mano, qué golazo, sir, qué golazo, Marcus Rashford, de Manchester United. What a call. We got to get Telemundo back on the pod. It's been too long.
That's where only the Spaniards could do it right. Great goal from Marcus Rashford. He had a bunch of really good chances in this opening second half, and it felt like United was figuring out a way to get him really involved, unlike the first. But, I mean, this hit, this finish, what a goal. Marcus is just showing that he's got different levels than we had even expected maybe a couple years ago, because this is not his first outside-of-the-box banger of the year. And he's doing it all on his left, on his right, close, medium, far. He's a top tier player, and they need to make sure that they prioritize his new contract. Because I have not heard enough about that. I mean, that guy's out in a year, and he's one of the most informed strikers in the world. So we got to keep Marcus around.
That is a very good point, sir. We don't talk about his contract often, but people were exploring it last summer, and obviously now the price just went up. 60th minute double sub Sancho and Zabitzer for Fred and Marcus. Get Marcus some rest. We're going to need him against Fulham. 65th minute, Zabitzer with a nice hit forces the keeper into a good save, and 75th minute triple sub. All right, the fixture at this point is done. Let's get some kids in. Delo, Lindelof, and Alonga for AWB, Martinez, and Bruno. Again, thinking about Fulham getting that rest. And United go on to win it. That's right. We're into the quarterfinals. Absolutely buzzing. This is United back to easy street here for this fixture. After that horrible red card, after that horrible match that we'll never talk about in this pod, it seems like the cup competitions are where we are flying high. And speaking of flying high, stats on the stat sheet here, 17 shots for United to Betis' 15, 4 on target to their 2, and 54% of the ball in their house. I feel like Betis is a good team. I actually want to say they're a good team. They're 5th in Spain. They're fighting for Champions League. And we went into their house, hostile environment. We dealt with them. We also dealt with the best team in Spain, Barcelona. So in cup competitions, we're looking pretty sharp.
Absolutely. And I would say, we're still in third place in the EPL. So this manager knows how to get results with the squad, and also the squad is building a resiliency that even if they don't start a game well, they can get a result. They can hold in there. They can rely on the individual brilliance and some of their world-class players, and then fight back into it. Today was another example of that. And more importantly, moving on in the cup. This weekend is so important as well. FA Cup. There's only one really big, what we considered a big side left in it other than us. So getting past Fulham is really important, but this gives the team momentum, gives them confidence, because like you said, it's like Betis is not a bad side. This is a team that would have been giving us trouble years ago under different managers, because that match could have gone sideways quickly, but United making it look easy, even when it isn't.
Match reaction, Manchester United unbeaten in their last 7 European away games against Spanish sides, winning 5, drawing 2. They'd only won 3 of their first 26 games in all European competitions against Spanish sides. That's incredible. I mean, we're usually miserable against teams from Spain. Don't need to go through the list, but everybody knows there's quite a few Spanish teams.
Any come to mind right away?
Not going to go there. Real Betis have lost both legs of European knockout tie for the first time since 97-98. So we did create some history there. And Manchester United have won more games in all competitions than any other side in Europe's Big 5 leagues this season, with 32, while only Barcelona have kept more clean sheets than the Red Devils. That is a kind of an interesting stat, because when we do let in goals, we let in a lot of goals. But, sir, I'm a Muppet. I'm biased here. Let's hear from the main man, the manager, Erik ten Hag.
We've made it through.
I'm happy, but we like challenges, and we knew before. But this is a really good team. We have seen it against Real Madrid, against Barcelona. But yeah, we beat them twice, so I think we performed very well.
Watching in the first half, you didn't seem particularly happy with the performance. It seemed quite stretched. Betis had a lot of chances. What particularly weren't you happy about?
Well, I think we could also go into the lead, but there were some moments in rush defense, in defense transition, that they could break. We had to avoid that, had to keep more control on the ball, to use the overload in the midfield. We didn't always do it, and second half was much better, but then you see also the energy is out of the opponent, and especially after you get the first goal.
It seemed similar to the first leg, and after half-time, you sort of professionally put the game away. Did you change anything? Were you pleased with how they responded second half?
I think second half we were much better on the ball, much more calm. Keep the ball in opponent's half, let them run, and then you create chances.
In terms of the players that
Wise words from the manager. He's pretty coy here. It was an easy fixture to come through. But, sir, I just got a hot call into the pod. Hans literally it's killing me for not playing the Europa League anthem during the intro here. Sir, are you there?
I'm here. So you paying everybody back with a little deep house music, courtesy of Eastern Europe, or?
So again, the birds chirping. Hans is chewing me out. He says he can hear the band at the beach, but he doesn't hear the Europa League. So let's get into that.
It's true, sir. It's true. I love that music, but I apologize. There's a lot of noise. I tried to go into the room, and the service was even worse. So I figured background noise is better than a disconnected line. But it's a party in front of me, sir. We're getting after it.
So you're gonna be blasting the Europa League theme from your hotel room here, enjoying the beach.
Love that beat.
All right, just checking in the Europa League, 538.com predictions after this round. Arsenal, the favorites to win the competition, win the final 27%. Manchester United right behind them at 18%. Juventus, Feyenoord, Leverkusen, Roma, Sporting, Sevilla, Union Berlin, and Sociedad, sir. How are you feeling about who's left in the competition? Is it just Arsenal or bust?
I mean, listen, there's going to be some tricky teams in that, even if we don't get the Gunners next round. I think it's all going to be about timing. I'd love to put the Gunners in the final if we can get there, but Juve, dude, they're never an easy team, even though they're not at their flying best. Roma with Jose, he'd love to beat us in a cup competition, so that could be a challenge. I think Union Berlin are doing pretty well in the Bundesliga this season, so
big Union Berlin guy.
Big Union Berlin guy. I love Berlin.
I didn't know you were like following Union Berlin.
I did know that they're doing well.
You're like, they're doing well. How well?
They're doing well.
How well?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you. They're up there. They're up there. They're higher than Chelsea are in their own league table. But what I'm saying is, all of these teams that we could end up playing, minus like the really lower ones that you mentioned, they could be a challenge over two legs, especially United with all these fixtures coming, because I don't think a game every other day.
Beat drop, sir. It's not a bad jam. I think when you keep moving on, It's so
gets better and better.
It gets better and better. Okay, so I misspoke. I read out the 538 odds, but the games are still live right now. Obviously, we played the 10:45 a.m. slot. So just to correct what I said about who's left, that was who's ranked to win it, and that hasn't been updated for the latest results. So qualified right now: Manchester United, Juventus, Feyenoord, Sevilla have qualified. Union Berlin and I can't even pronounce the Belgian team. I'm looking at the score right now. It's halftime actually, and Union Berlin are down 4-3. Leverkusen are up. They should qualify. They're up 3-0 on aggregate at halftime. Real Sociedad and Roma, it's 0-0, and then Arsenal winning against Sporting 1-0, and on aggregate is 3-2. So Arsenal have the edge against Sporting right now, and then Roma have the edge against Real Sociedad. So it's odds on it's gonna be Roma, Arsenal, coin flip for Union Berlin, and then Leverkusen to be through as well. So of those teams, they're not going to put us in Arsenal, because when they do this draw, I believe the way it's set is they actually set the bracket. So Arsenal's going to be on the other side of the bracket because it's rigged. 100% they're going to play for the United Arsenal final because that's the most amount of money that they can make. So it's going to be rigged. We're not going to face them in the quarters or the semifinals. I'm thinking a Leverkusen type of a matchup. Juventus would definitely be in our bracket because you're going to have the Paul Pogba versus Manchester United. Everyone would love that. So I'm thinking like a Juventus, a Leverkusen. That would be a real tasty fixture for the quarterfinals.
No, you make lots of good points. I definitely see you asking Juve because that's like a big ticket game, right? Big teams in Europe. I feel like we could get another Spanish opponent. I feel like Sevilla would be like right on schedule based on how many Spanish teams we played this year in Europe. But anyway, it's going to be about injuries and about any players that are missing because of suspension, right? We did dodge a bullet today with Bruno and Casemiro avoiding another yellow that would have made them miss the first leg of the next round. But all these teams are beatable teams, even the Gunners. I think us in a final. I could see us meet in the semifinals, sir, because they'd love to have two of those bites the apple of Arsenal versus Manchester United. But
that's a good point. That's another good point. Is it more money to have them play twice in the semis? So
right.
That's UEFA math. So, I think they're going to play. It's destined to be United Arsenal final. In my opinion, it's destined to be that. You and me are destined to be begging the wives to go at the last minute somewhere, wherever this final is. Yeah,
I think it's Budapest.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Budapest would be. They'd probably be like, no, you can't.
Nah, you're good.
Yeah, it's going to be at the Budapest at the Pukas Arena. It looks like a nice arena, but probably not allowed to go to Budapest. But look, sir, we got another cup we're playing for. Manchester United versus Fulham, Old Trafford. Luck of the draw, quarterfinals. We're done with the proper rounds. We're on to the quarters. Sunday, March 19th, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Lifetime versus Fulham. We've won 53. We've drawn 20. We've lost 14. First time we played Fulham was in 1905. We drew in the FA Cup 2-2. Last 5 against Fulham, we've won 4, drawn 1. We're looking pretty good. Fulham just got battered by Arsenal 3-0. They got done by Brentford 3-2. They beat Leeds in the FA Cup to get into the quarters 2-0. Drew with the Wolves, and they beat Brighton. So they beat Brighton, drew Wolves, beat Leeds, lost to Brentford, lost big to Arsenal. That's probably the one that is, we probably should have beat them. We beat them once, should have drawn. They got lucky. We got to be beating Fulham here.
This is going to be a tough match. Fulham is on the up. They're playing really good football. And it has a kind of pseudo trap game feel to it, right? It's like the last game before an international break. As you remember, we played Fulham away last game before the World Cup break. And that was a nervy end, right, with Garnacho getting the winner in the dying moments. But I think it's going to be a really tough game without Casemiro available. A lot of onus is going to be on Bruno and Fred and whoever he pairs with those two, either Sabitzer or you would think McTominay. But it's going to be a tough game. United, I think it's important to keep momentum going. Obviously, FA Cup is a great piece of silverware. That's proper stuff. We're getting into the arena that you really do want to win an FA Cup. But you can't overlook a Fulham side. They're going to be feisty. I think we gain a little bit of an advantage because we're playing at home, and Old Trafford is regaining kind of a status as a fortress. But Fulham are not going to roll over in this game. It's going to be a dogfight.
Sir, greatest of English football, we have won it all, so we want to keep winning everything we possibly can. A little history on Fulham. They were founded in 1879. They are London's oldest professional football club. If you've ever been to Craven Cottage, that is our home ground since 1896. If you're asking yourself, why do they call it Craven Cottage? There's actually a cottage inside the stadium. It makes no sense. It's the most British thing of all time. It's like you watch it. I've been watching EPL on TV for 20 years. You're like, oh, it just looks like this nice cottage. The stadium has those pillars. It has this old style. That's why you thought it was Craven Cottage. It's like, no. In the corner, there's an owner's box. But instead of a nice glass box like you see at all the stadiums nowadays, it's literally a cottage with a porch, and that's where they sit and watch the games. Great away environment. We saw United absolutely dust Fulham. Been to, I think we saw them play Ipswich in the championship as well. It's a great stadium in London. If you get there in the springtime, it's right on the river. It's unbelievable. They contest the West London derby with rivals Chelsea, Queen's Park, Raisins, and Brentford. They also have Timmy Ream on the team. If you like the We Are America Red Devils, we have to cheer on. They also have Robinson at left back. So they've always had American ties. Clint Dempsey played for them. Brian McBride played for them as well. So a lot of Americans ties to Fulham. How are you feeling about this matchup?
No, it's a good point, sir. It's a great stadium in a great part of London. A little bit of a mix of an old and new, right? They just redid their West End. Love to see that. It's a great place to go as a neutral, having a pint on the river, especially on a beautiful day. Especially when they're not playing Manchester United, because you got to root for United, of course. But I think it's going to be a tricky game. I think the fact that we're playing at home, I think, is why I'm more confident. But they want to win silverware. This is a great opportunity for them to win silverware, and they're going to come out to play. I just think United need to be ready for that and not concede early, not make it a fight, one of those games we have to get back into. If we kind of keep it a clean sheet, we'll get our goals. It's just I don't want us conceding early because I think they're going to come at us. Andres Pereira, he's having a good season with them, as well as the Americans you mentioned. Ream looking like a Premier League player. He could hack it all day. So it's going to be a tough match, but I'm looking forward to it because I love the cups, sir. Keep them coming.
I'll tell you what, we're down a dog in our team, sir. We're down a dog, Casemiro, and they got a big dog up front, Mitrovic. If you've ever seen a dog on a pitch, he's definition of, man. He's a player. He could change the game. He can score 2, hit a brace on you. He's just a tough number 9, hungry, got a lot of dog in him. It's going to be tough for the back line to deal with him. Mitrovic, I'm probably the most afraid of him. And then obviously Pereira, when you have ex-United players coming back to Old Trafford, they usually show up. It's just written in the stars, the footballing gods. They love when some old United players come back to Old Trafford. Jumping into the injuries, Donny down, Eriksson down, Casemiro suspended. This is horrific that he's out. Anthony, he got sick, and Garnacho, that he's surviving that scissor challenge. Given those are the injuries, what is your starting 11 for Fulham, FA Cup quarterfinal?
This is what I got, sir. I got De Gea in net, AWB, Varane, Martinez, Shaw. I'm going to do Fred, Sabitzer, Bruno as my midfield, Rashford on the left, Wout up front. I'm going to do Facundo again on the right. I thought he played well today. Maybe he doesn't get the start after 90 minutes. Maybe he opts for Sancho, but that's what I would go for against Fulham, sir. What do you got?
Fred Zabitzer. I don't know. That's got liability.
You going McFred?
What are you kidding me, sir? I'm going to dollar menu. I'm getting my McFred with cheese. I'm going to say De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Shaw, McFreddy, Bruno, Rashford, Wout. And I think you're right. Facundo, he looked good. I think you got to play him there at the moment, and that should do the job against Fulham. Your sound defense, you got to think defense first. We let in a goal early. It's wet noodle FC, so I'd much rather be more sound and then add attackers.
I think that's right. I think that is the move. Is you show up with the thinking that Fulham's going to come at you and really try to get a goal early. Paulinho, he's another good player, sir. He's going to be the one that's probably going to be a difference maker without Casemiro on the side. So you're going to have a lot of work from Fred, or if you do Fred Sabitzer, we'll see what the manager goes with. But it's going to be a tough match, and I think it's important for United, like you just said, to hold it even as long as you can, because I always think United could do it going forward, but as you said, defense, we've been all over the place this season, and you don't want to give up an early goal to Fulham in our house.
All right, booking the bookies. We have United odds on favorite -240, draw +330, Fulham to win +625. Given those the odds, what is your score prediction for Fulham?
I think it's a tough match, sir. I think it's tight. 1-0 United, late goal from Marcus Rashford, gets the winner, keeps it going, and then United get a much-deserved break with international break coming around the corner. What do you got, sir?
Nothing like an international break where there's nothing to break for, but I'll take it because we have a lot of injuries. My score, I'm going to say we're going to do them 3-0. I think this will be an easy one. That's my United Muppet take. Now, what I've been seeing on the pitch, we have not hit 100% since the dreaded game that will never be discussed on the pod. It's always been kind of this. We had Betis, that was an appetizer, made a meal out of the first half. Then we came back in the second. Then obviously the Southampton kind of debacle. You kind of fought, but we're kind of bouncing off the bottom. We haven't had that we're back, baby. Because really nervy start today. We just don't have that clicking on all cylinders, and I'm hoping it comes out and we see that type of game against Fulham. But my gut tells me it's going to be, if I'm opposition and I'm watching how we're playing, you got to press them high early, high intensity. Exactly what Southampton did to us that we didn't think they were going to do. Exactly what Betis did to us today. Put us under pressure early, and that's kind of been what's worked against United. Anyone who sits back, they know that Marcus is going to get that goal. So I expect Fulham to come out, and I hope we can get an early one and make it an easy day. But I'm a little nervous.
I'm with you, sir. I think this is going to be a tough game because they're not the Fulham of yore where you just go in and you know you'd smash them. I mean, they're playing good football in the top half of the table, and we were missing one of our best players, if not our best player. So I don't think this is going to be the game where we get back to everything clicking and the machine just rolling on. I think this is going to be a tough match. Won or lost in the midfield because they've got a pretty good midfield, and United. They're going to have to piece it together. But like you said, we have Rashford. He's a goal scorer.
Yeah, we have Rashford.
Well, we have Rashford. I mean, he's scoring goals. Wow, it isn't. But it's a big last game before the international break, and hopefully some of our boys get a chance to get a blow because they certainly need it. I don't know what the international break is for. Like, what's the purpose? But our boys need some rest because there's just been so many matches.
All right, let's get into some news. United in the news. All right, we got some interesting tidbits here. Seek Hassim Group meets Old Trafford. Meets Manchester United officials at Old Trafford ahead of potential takeover. Representatives of the Qatari royal bidding for Manchester United held meetings with the club on Thursday. Got to see the photos, them hanging out, them going inside, having some meetings. Very interesting. You need to see Ratcliffe show up, have the same type of meeting.
That is the rumor, right? I think the Qatari consortium is today, which is Thursday, and I believe the rumor is that Ratcliffe's going to show up tomorrow. But second round now of the bids, and we're getting new stories on the potential sale like every day. And one day the sale's off, Glazers aren't going to budge. They're going to dig in, and then a day later you're here and they want a full sale. They want the sale done by the summer. So it's posturing. We're in the middle of a deal, right? Or not even a deal, but like a bidding process. And like you've alluded to many times, there can go a lot of different ways. Both parties, or if you take a buyer and a seller, they're all going to posture, and now we have multiple buyers trying to get the club. I don't know where we're going to land at this point. I can see any possible outcome. I could see Qatar winning. I could see Ratcliffe winning. I could see Glazers walking. But obviously, this is the big story. We're going to keep you posted every step of the way because there's a lot of ways this could play out.
Yeah, exactly. And like keeping you posted here on Twitter, Mike Keegan, he says 10 days for those in the hunt to submit second bid because this is how it works. There's a sale process. You get all the first bids. The real horses coming into the race. You got Ratcliffe. You got the Qataris. Apparently, it might be another party from the United States. You don't know exactly all of them. The Seek in Thursday. Ratcliffe's in Friday. They're getting tours of Old Trafford and Carrington. And clear picture could emerge by month end. Ultimately, they're getting a look at, more importantly than just like the facilities, they're getting a look at the books. They're getting a look at the contracts, where the money... where all the money where the Glazers have to cop in their 10K that they owe like $1 billion outstanding. Those are two other clubs from, putting all these transfers on the credit card. Like I'm sure Harry Magoo isn't paid for. Anthony and Lisandro Martinez, even though you look at how much money we spent, that's going to be over 5 years to Ajax. So these new buyers will assume all those payables. And that's something they have to dig through, and that's something that's actually not publicly disclosed. They disclose the amounts, but they do not give you like, hey, we actually kicked 90% of Anthony's fee down the line, or we kicked, like we're going to be paying Sancho's fee, Anthony's fee, et cetera, over time. And that's just really what the Glazers have done, is not only lob debt on the club, not only not invested in the club, they took money out, and then they threw all these transfers on the credit card. So like you said, someone's got to come in and buy this whole thing outright, and I still think the price tag is $6 billion, because why not? You're the Glazers. You don't have to sell. Someone's got to make you sell. That's exactly the mood. No one's going to sell Manchester United on the cheap. $4.5 billion seems cheap to me. It has to be an irrational price. You have to pay $1 billion on top of what is rational, I would think, to get Manchester United. It's just Has to be an emotional buy. Like, and guess who might buy it? Ratcliffe. Yeah, I bet you pay $1 billion over in like 10 years. It looks like a no-brainer. It's just right now it kind of stings.
It does, and like the broader macro market's not great. Right? Interest rates are going up, but like you said, it's like interest rates are going to stay up forever, and this club is not like any other club. It really isn't.
Well, interest rates are down, sir, because of all the failed banks going down. So
in the last couple of weeks, but I'm just saying.
No, in the last 3 days, the 2 years down 100 bips is like melting down because the whole financial system. Yeah,
yeah. Well, because Credit Suisse. I'm just making a point about like if you compare where we were a year and a half ago.
They
totally
should have sold before.
They probably should have sold like right around when Chelsea was looking when they made the acquisition or the sale. But like you said, it's like that's why it's going to take an irrational price. Are the Qataris going to be willing to pay an irrational price? Maybe. Is Radcliffe? Maybe. Are they willing to just kick the can and take in some cash and look to sell the club in 5 years when things smooth out? Or when, like you said, the club's gonna be worth more money. It's like this club could easily be worth $10 billion in 10 years, like without a doubt, just based on the way things are going. I don't know. This is gonna play out how it plays out, and the Glazers are a motivated seller. They want the money, but they're not gonna walk away unless they get their Billy, because they don't have another asset sitting on the sideline that they could sell after United to get even more money. I mean, obviously they have the Tampa Bay Bucks, but it's a different class of asset. It's like they can't even compare it.
The Tampa Bay Bucks are worth the same, most likely.
But if they are, that means Manchester United is cheap at $5.5 billion, bro.
The problem with Manchester United, the difference between an NFL franchise and United is you have to go out and kill what you eat. With NFL, it's literally like
capitalism.
It's a monopoly, and you just make the rev share on the league, and the TV rights are bundled and everything. So it's much the future cash flows are much easier to forecast than is United going to make top four. You have to keep investing big money in these players, whereas in the NFL, it's like artificially deflated where you have a draft and then there's maximums on those contracts. So everything's structured in the NFL for like making tons of money forever. Whereas in England, you actually have to work for it, which that's why we love English football. That's why we love the football pyramid. The Glazers tried to get rid of that dynamic, making it more like the NFL. So it's going to be a really interesting process as far as where it's going to go. Man, who's going to come in? I could really see there just being daylight between the Glazers and these two bidders, and there's just not enough momentum. I'm not hearing enough momentum around the purchase. There's some like Qatari Twitter accounts that are saying stuff, but primarily the narrative is coming out through that Sky Cave guy, and he's saying they're not going to pay more than 4.5. And Ratcliffe, he would need to get somebody else in. So I could see this process kind of stalling, and then maybe Ratcliffe getting someone else and then buying it. But it doesn't seem like there's a war and the price is going to be bid up and the Glazers are going to get whatever they want. So in that case, there's going to be uncertainty as far as who gets it next and at what price. I just don't see the Glazers selling cheap. And I wouldn't either if I was them. Why would you? There's no point. I would just hold it for another 10 years and then sell it for 10.
I mean, I would agree if I was you and I, sir. I would wait, but they're old. I mean, the only thing that makes me open to it is like they are old, bro. And like maybe they want that new P-Jet, and they need that cash to fund it. But like that could be the only thing. Like, well, they're getting up there, late 60s. So you would think they'd be a little bit more motivated because
but to sell that asset for cheap,
can't buy more time.
I
agree. I don't think they're going to sell for cheap. I agree. It's like this is money that will put them. Their kids will never have to work, and maybe they don't already. But like you said, they're not gonna give it up cheap, because why would you? Even if you're getting up there in age, it's like this is a valuable asset. Even though you make a really good point about the NFL, it's like owning an NFL is a better business asset, because it just shits cash, and the worse you do, the better your picks are in the draft. And EPL is literally like cold-blooded, hardcore capitalism at its finest, where it's like you got to be good enough, otherwise you're fucked. So we'll see, sir. I don't know. I've seen every possible outcome, but I definitely see like, hey, Glazers hanging around for a while, because I don't think they care.
No, there's just not that
fans
momentum.
Continue to hate them.
I
agree.
There's like more parties, people interested, like everyone. I just feel like it's kind of like a dull process, and it's probably because of the price. And it's also what alternatives are they looking at too, which we don't know. So we'll keep you posted on the sale. We're talking about every pod. There's a little drip of news comes out. Next bit of news here, switching to the footballing side of things. United are now considering a new contract to Palestri before letting him go on loan next season. No decision made yet on both sides, but concrete talks will take place in April to plan Facundo's future. This is interesting. We're hearing rumblings of a new deal. Obviously, he's about to break into the first team. Hasn't proven he belongs there yet. Tons of people to compete with that right wing. Is this an anti-Sancho move? Right? Sancho isn't working out well. Need more options on the right wing.
It's a great question, sir. Like, the right wing is, no one's got it. Anthony, he hasn't proven that he can be the guy week in, week out. Sancho, right? He hasn't proven it yet. Left wing is firmly held by Marcus Rashford and no one else. Obviously, we're going to get a number 9 in this summer. That's a priority. But the right wing, it's like, remember those players that we bought before we bought Sancho, before we bought Anthony, Facundo and Ahmad continuing to have a good season up at Sunderland. I don't hate this move. I think this is one of those where, like, you got to stick the loan move really well. Like, he's had hit or miss. Like, he was at his club that now escapes me, Alaves, I think, in Spain, and that wasn't really good. They were, like, in the bottom, and he never got minutes. So you need to make sure that if you're going to do this, the player needs to be open to it, like, wants to be a Manchester United player long term, and he's so willing to do that, they'll sign a new contract and go on another loan for you. But, like, you got to get that loan right is all I'm getting at. Obviously, the player needs to be willing, but, like, the loan is so important because it's not always a sure thing. Like, loans can go bust because of the wrong manager. The manager gets sacked. The team that he joins
No,
is too
they're
shit.
a racket. We haven't navigated the loan market well. Like,
No, we haven't. Not at all.
Like, Tahith Chong is a great example. Like, great prospect came in, and the loan market arguably, like, destroyed him. Like, we can't. And that's why Ahmad at Sunderland, and this is Sir Alex used to have that connections with clubs that you could trust, that if you brought players, that you almost need that type of, like, maybe like Manchester United B team, you could ship your loan. Obviously, that doesn't exist. But, you need that, like, farm system for United a little bit. Just have those relationships where people can get reliable minutes, and the coaches are good and they'll get developed. Because you don't want to ship, like you said, Facundo is doing well now, and he's doing well because he's been at United. So it's hard to say what's going to happen on the right wing of Manchester United. I will say, given that we might sign a new deal, we ain't buying anybody, unfortunately. Speaking of buying people, Manchester United. Okay, actually, before we get into the juicy news, preseason tour in the United States. They did the big announcement. They didn't reach out to us to sort of co-brand. The Glazers didn't contact the number one pod that wants them out of the club. But look, preseason tour in the United States. This is I'll cover this from like we talked about it. Been to the tour. I've been to enough preseason games. I'm good. I've been to like Real Madrid, play Barcelona. I've been to United, play the Galaxy, etc. I've been to a bunch of them, and they're just not the same. They're fun. Like I take my son. That's about the vibe that I get. But if you're a hardcore fan, you got to go to Old Trafford. You got to go see them play for keeps. It's just a different vibe. They always you get the players. You don't know who's going to play. Players are getting up to fitness. It's kind of a little bit of a racket. But I'm glad that they're coming to the United States because of the time change. They're coming to the U.S. They're coming to Cali. It'd be nice weather. And then they travel around the United States, get to see a lot of fans, which are here. The fan base here is amazing, and give everyone a chance to see them. Plus, you're not going across the world to Australia and coming back. Like, that's way too much. That for me, it comes down to the sports science and the travel, which is why I'm glad they're coming to the United States.
Sports science says that John can dust Wout Weghorst.
Yeah,
so you're right.
Actually, Wout is coming out. He texted the pod. We got a race. We got a race. Me and him. I got to start training. I got to start doing squats like high school football, like North Jersey.
I'll tell you what. I'd pay a lot of money to see that. But make a lot of good points. I mean, I like the fact the facilities in America are top notch. They found it that, like, you go to UCLA, maybe you go to Texas, maybe you go to Florida, and by and large, it feels like less of like an endurance sport for the players when they go to the States versus going like all over Southeast Asia, going to Australia, right? Like 15-hour time difference. Like it's totally nuts. It makes sense from a commercial standpoint, but I think in the United States, right, we got great facilities, often attached to colleges. That has worked out really well. You get to see how big Manchester United is, right? You have like Julia Roberts show up, talk about how much he loves the club. Ha ha ha! You love to see that as well. And the last point I was going to get at is like if you can't make it to England, money, family, work, whatever. I agree. Like it's comparable. It's a huge step down, but like there are worse things to seeing them play at MetLife Stadium or Levi Stadium, sir, because it's gonna be the kids. But like, hey, it's better than nothing.
All right, the Julia Roberts thing where Pep Guardiola came out like this year and like said he was like so embarrassed he was so upset because Julia Roberts is like his idol. That is so weird. That is like so weird. That is like he's like his idols are like everything to do with football. There's like 3 of them, and it clearly is like I don't remember, but you would be like
it's Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Tiger Woods, and like what? It's like Julia Roberts. Like what movie did you see? Like I don't like dislike Julia Roberts. I have an opinion. I mean, she was good in Aaron Brockovich, right? That was a good movie, but like, Pretty Woman. I just don't. Where's this pedestal? Where's the pedestal of Julia Roberts come from? Am I missing something here?
I mean, I like Julia Roberts. I like her even more the fact that she's a Manchester United fan. I would imagine what was the one
like Sandra Bullock has more power than Julia Roberts, right? I would say that, right? If you were like ranking,
they're comparable.
No,
I mean I think the one
Speed?
you said, Pretty well, Speed's great.
Are you kidding me?
Like she's more
like
Sandra does more action flicks, which I can get down with. I bet Pep is a big Pretty Woman fan. I guarantee.
Yeah, like some weird thing. Yeah, he's
like all about Pretty Woman.
Yeah, but also like it comes on. Obviously, we're not just talking about that for no reason. Pep's saying, "Oh, she went to Manchester United and they weren't any good," and that's the whole point. Is nobody's a City fan. Even they could win the Champions League, they could win all of the Premier Leagues, but you can't create the history of Manchester United, the Halo Grand of Old Trafford, and that's why Julia Roberts is gracing Old Trafford, and it's good to know that we can dunk on Pep in that regard. Little sidebar on Julia Roberts on the pod, but that was a weird presser from Pep. He's, I think, losing his marbles a little bit. Transfer news.
I think he just likes to talk shit. I think he just likes to talk shit about City, right? Like he basically just like slates them. Like as soon as I win a European title, I'm out of here because. And he plays. Unfortunately, like they've been much better than us for the last decade, but it's a small club, and
no one cares.
He's coached in big clubs, bro.
Exactly. Yeah, cares. You win at Barca, it's like the world. You feel the reverberations around the world. I feel like City win, and it's just like not a mouse. You got three guys getting hammered outside the stadium with Jack Grealish. That's about it. Drunk Jack Grealish, another like that. I'm very sad that Jack Grealish is not in United for that reason. Jack Grealish fighting around the world like Wayne Rooney. Like he's a dog, another dog.
He would have been great. He would have been a proper dog from the side. He feels like a United player. I don't know.
He does.
It feels weird with him on City. Like he would be, kind of has like a Beckham vibe, right? Pretty boy, but he's a baller, and he's also fucking. He's got a little waz on him too, right? He's like a lit City.
This one here, Harry Kane to United. Harry Kane 1 year on his deal. He's got his brother Numpty agent. Doing it for him. He famously he tried to hold out for City. It blew up in his face, if you recall. So, Harry Kane looks to be heading on his way out, and how do you know he's going to leave? And the answer is Levy's can make money if he sells him. So the odds are he wants to go. Levy can make a solid chunk of cash. United need a number 9. Kane's got to be on that list. But at the end of the day, a little article coming out here, Tottenham unwilling to sell Harry Kane to Manchester United, which is like literally insane. I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this. Harry Kane can't be sold to United. I'm like, who else would buy him? Who else?
No, we're the perfect fit.
There's only one club that can buy him.
Yeah, it's us. Or he could stay at Spurs and win fuck all, right? And keep scoring goals.
No, he doesn't want to stay. So he wants to leave. Levy wants money. right? Because of the stadium, etc. He's got 1 year left. We'll pay him like 70, 80 million for 1 year left on the deal.
That's negotiation.
Chelsea's
record,
not
right?
going to pay that. City won't bring in Harry Kane. They probably should, actually. Could City buy Kane and have Haaland? I mean, that's something they literally could do.
I mean, they have Alvarez, so you'd probably have to ship him.
Who?
Julian Alvarez.
No, I know. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I know. Okay, I don't know. Sorry, that's what I'm in the sun all day, broski. Kane, if he wants to come to United, he comes to United. I think like the posturing, that feels like a very Levy tactic, which is like, oh, he's not for sale. He doesn't want to leave, which maybe means he is for sale. They just want us to pay top ticket. But if it's 1 year left, shit, bro, you could, if he's in, if he wants to come to United, which I could see that scenario.
He
does.
He does. We need a 9.
He hasn't won anything. He'd be great. I haven't always been the biggest Harry Kane fan, but he would come into Manchester United and he would score goals and he would help us challenge for titles. And I think he would be very happy at Manchester United. It sounds silly, but some players just come in and they can tell that it's like a different gravy. I think if Harry Kane came to United, he'd have a great 3 or 4 year career and just be joyful as he banged in goal after goal. And we could win a title next year with him and a couple more players.
I just feel like you're right about everything you said. Harry Kane's the type of guy where he's made into the captain at Tottenham. He's made into the leader, and he's kind of this low energy kind of Harry Kane, and he's made into that at England, and that just doesn't suit him, man. And you've seen this at United too, where it's he doesn't need to be Cantona. He doesn't need to be the guy running the show. He needs to just he needs to be around those guys. Right, around the Varans, around the Casemiros, around the Brunos of the world, who are going to be the dogs, and Harry Kane's just going to do it. It makes it easier for him, gives him a little more room to breathe. It's not all on him. I feel like England is too much on his shoulders. I feel like him coming into United, having this cast of characters we have now, could be a really good blend. It feels like he's destined for United. Sometimes the stars line up in the footballing world, and right now, we're pretty much a finished article except for number 9. You could debate the right wing, you could debate right back, but really the gaping hole is number 9, and he would just flow right in there. Break the Premier League record because he doesn't want to leave the Premier League because he's going to get the all-time goal scoring record. He'll break it at Manchester United, which would be incredible. And he could look at Rashford. Look at the trophies Rashford's won already, and Harry Kane could win something. And at the end of the day, it just feels like it's too good for it not to happen. I just think no one's going to want to buy him. Chelsea won't. City won't. Arsenal don't want him. It's literally United is probably his only option. He's going to do everything he can to make the move happen. I think it does happen this summer. It just seems to me like he should have signed for City. What should have happened, and it's a crime, is we should have had Haaland. He should have gone to City, and City would be way better with Kane, and we'd be better with Haaland. That's really what should have happened, and somehow the footballing gods got it wrong because Haaland would be so much better on United, playing him in behind, but we would play to his strengths, and Kane would be so much better on City, passing, coming deep. It would just be such a better fit. I think the Haaland signing screwed City up.
I mean, what did he score? 5 goals the other day?
No, he's good, but it's just not, it's not clicking. It's not clicking.
It's not the best version of Haaland. I think a team like us that plays so direct on the break, balls are behind, like you said, he would score even more goals and arguably better goals. But hey, whatever happens is what happens. So him not going to United, that gives us an angle of Kane. Kane can be our RVP, right? He can come in. There's dogs around him, right? And just be the guy that scores goals week in, week out, and that's what we need. We need someone that can just bury chances because I don't want to keep slighting this guy, but if Wout was Harry Kane since January, he would have 10.
There's a lot of Wout lovers here on the pod. So
I know there are.
Careful.
I'm not criticizing Wout because he's got a lot of heart and he's just trying to do his job, and I don't hate on the guy at all. I like the conviction, I like the work rate, I appreciate that. But if Kane was the striker over the last, I don't know how many there's been since January, 20 games, he would be scoring almost a goal a game because we're crying out for a number 9, and he fits the bill well, right? So if you can get him for a good price, he'd come to United.
Well, also, he can play the ball.
He'd love United. He'd be the number 1 United fan because he would go, we'd win shit, and people treat you differently when you play for Manchester United. And I think he'd feel that.
Well, you could see, you sign Harry Kane, right? And then you're like, okay, number 9's done, and you got Rashford on the left. And Harry Kane is great when he comes to play the ball to feet, and then that second ball into Rashford. And then all you need to do is fix the right wing. And then it's over. I mean, like you have a really threatening team because Harry Kane not only can score, but he has the pass. And that's kind of how you saw Wayne Rooney later in his career coming down, dropping deep, getting the ball, and then distributing it to like the likes of Rashford and behind. That's going to be what is going to be really dangerous about Harry Kane. That's what I'm really excited about it because you see like the target man Wout. It's not really clicking up front. He's doing the dirty work. He's running, but as far as like playing into Rashford's strengths or having that connection in our attack, we don't have. And I think Harry Kane could really help us get there. Have we really lost the plot when we want to sign Harry Kane? Maybe, sir. But that is just where we're at in 2023. All right, fan questions here. We got one from @MikeUnitedMets. Quote, professional performance to keep a clean sheet and close out the tie. Can't wait to draw Juventus. So he calls it out as well. We all know it's rigged. Arsenal's going to be on the other side of the bracket. We will draw Juve. We will most likely see Arsenal in the final. The Paul Pogba rivalry match. Who knows if he'll even make fitness to get into it. But we will keep you posted on the draw, which goes down tomorrow. Sir, we got our top downloads last 7 days. I'm pulling those up. I'm doing everything today on the podcast as a one-man band. We appreciate everyone who listens and has been dealing with me on the soundboard solo. It's not easy.
You're killing it, sir.
Talking and pulling all the chords at the same time.
I'm down in Margaritaville over here, and there's like there's so much going on in front of me. You can pick up a lot of noises. It's like
I can hear them all.
With yachts, like blasting country music or house music or the like. So it's a good time.
All right. Let me know if I'm doing this right. We have to say how we doing, then we get into the cities, right? How we doing? London, England, number 1. New York, Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, El Tráfico, California, Charlotte, North Carolina, DC, Melbourne, Australia, Dublin, Ireland, the Bay Area, San Francisco, California, shout out, and Dallas, Texas. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like the America Red Devils, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/America Red Devils. That helps us stay ad-free. Check out our website, americareddevils.com. Click on store, grab some merch, drop a review, like, subscribe, wherever you listen. Helps this small time operation. Sir, we appreciate you dialing in from paradise. Thank you for the remote pod. Enjoy your vacation in Mexico. And we're going to end this podcast with a simple song, sir. We've seen it all. We've won the lot.